When you're planning the medical workforce, you have to think very far into the future to have any chance of getting the numbers right. And we were thinking within the centre, how might we take a new approach that's going to help us think about the future and then work back from that in order to make recommendations now. And we find that scenario generation, we felt, offered this opportunity.
All the information that we're going to produce over the next 2 days is going to come out of your heads, basically.
Anybody else who's working as a consultant in the NHS at the moment will recognise that it is a very different job to how it was 10, 15 years ago.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's an awful lot about what political choices are made in the next period.
Let's not forget, particularly I think in medicine, Shipman, Neil, Ayling, mid-staffs and what comes out of that. Sometimes these totally unexpected things that really do game change.
And we've talked about these predetermined and uncertainties, these driving forces.
And we're really delighted that we've got Professor George Wright, who is a world-leading expert on scenario generation, to actually facilitate this very diverse group, to bring all their perspectives together to form 4 plausible future scenarios around which there will be a high degree of consensus.
We're looking to find fresh perceptions that lead to insights.
George asked all the participants to write the driving forces that may impact on requirements of the medical workforce in future, thinking about technological, environmental, economic, political, social and ethical factors.
Well, it seems you can see a lot of activity in the room. People are standing around the individual clusters and trying to work out the 2 ways, the extreme ways in which the components of the cluster could resolve themselves one way or the other.
I think it's fascinating. I think the challenge of how many people we put in at the bottom of medical training in order to get the workforce that we need for the future. The techniques here have really challenged me to think differently about what the future of medical care would look like.
One of the good things about this exercise was actually it did level the playing field in terms of the contributions of all of the stakeholders.
It's that mixture of learning from what's happened in the past 20, 30, 40 years, but also taking the views of the people who are coming forward and what's going to affect their career choices over the next 30 or 40 years.
We're trying to work out the population's needs for dental treatment in the next 30 years, so we're trying to work a workforce that would match that.
Technology and the shape of the workforce. Again, there are 2 outcomes and hopefully a champion too.
Well, they're both plausible, but I think one is far more likely than the other, to be honest.
We were talking about the whole economics of the dental profession, where the money comes from, where it goes, and what's the impact on numbers, not just of dental undergraduates qualifying, but the whole range of professionals that support them as well.
The process itself has been very interesting and very stimulating, and it's also raised issues that I would not have foreseen.
Enormous amount of work has come out, and I really think this has formed a basis, and I'm very impressed that you're going to take the stories, do a qualitative analysis, do a quantitative analysis and come up with some sort of metric. This will be a very powerful piece of work.
And you get the aha moment that people see that there's something in it. It's not just common sense, there are insights that weren't there before they started. So what's happened is the contents of the heads of all these diverse people who've been here on both the medical one and the dental one has been brought together, and they all see different things they didn't see before, but they also see how what they know fits with what other people know, and that's the scenarios are really judgments about the way things will unfold into the future.
There will be at least 5 general elections in that period.
And it gives us a sort of aim, an objective, where we think we might be in 30 years' time. And then what we need to do is begin to understand how we'll get to that position and create a workforce that will be fit for that sort of purpose. It sounds very easy saying it, it's very complex, but it is a very good starting point, and I can't see an alternative than doing it this way.
We're certainly going to use the method again when we need to think about other healthcare and social care workforces.